everyone, I'm Dr. Elizabeth Groller, and I'm the Director of Title IX and Civil Rights Compliance at the college. I was recently approached by a student who was curious about what Title IX does for the college community. So I've invited Pavel Mendoza, a student and an employee at the college, to discuss Title IX and what it means to you as a student. Welcome, Pavel.
Yes, Dr. Groller, thanks for inviting me here today. You had mentioned that Title IX deals with the safety of the college community to a certain extent. I know that's what public safety does for us, and I feel pretty safe having them all over our campuses. But I am curious about the role that the Title IX office has in keeping the college safe.
Well, in a nutshell, Title IX are federal regulations that ensures your rights as a student at the college. So it's not only about your right to be safe from violence, but also your right to be free from all forms of sexual misconduct, discrimination, and retaliation. Based on the Title IX regulations, as well as Delaware state law, the college has policies in place which are designed not only to ensure these rights, but also to make sure all members of the college community are welcome at Delaware Tech, no matter who they are or where they come from. Our office's main purpose is to cultivate a safe learning and working environment by providing you with information and resources about Title IX and giving you the opportunity to stand up for your rights so you can continue to have equal access to the college's educational programs, activities, and to the workplace.
Sounds like important work. What Title IX policies should students be aware of?
Great question, Pavel. The following college policies come under the jurisdiction of the Title IX office. The Statement of Non-Discrimination Policy. This policy states that no person shall be discriminated against or treated unfairly based on their membership in a protected class. The Policy on Sexual Misconduct. The college has a zero-tolerance policy for any type of violence, including violence arising out of sexual misconduct. The policy on sexual misconduct prohibits all members of its community from committing any and all acts of sexual misconduct, including acts involving dating and domestic violence and stalking. The Prohibition Against Retaliation policy. The college prohibits any member of the college community from retaliating against a complainant, respondent, or any person who participates in a discrimination or sexual misconduct complaint, investigation, or proceeding. This includes acts of intimidation, threats, coercion, denial of educational or employment benefits, or discrimination for the purpose of interfering with the rights of a complainant, respondent, or other person under Title IX. All of these policies can be found in your student handbook. If you have a few more minutes, I'd like to go over each one of these policies and how they are applicable under Title IX.
Yes, I do. Please go on.
Okay, great. Let's start with the college's Statement of Non-Discrimination Policy.
I understand what you mean by discriminated against, but what is a protected class?
Protected class refers to a group of individuals who share a common characteristic and who are legally protected from being treated unfairly by laws, practices, and policies that discriminate against them. The following is a list of protected classes.
So how does someone know they have been discriminated against?
Well, you must be in one or more of the protected classes and be treated unfairly because of your membership in one of those classes. An example of being treated unfairly can be where you are experiencing a hostile learning or work environment, such as being consistently excluded from a class group or discussion. It can also mean that an adverse action was taken against you. For instance, you received a failing grade on a test or course because of your membership in that protected class. It may be considered discrimination if other people who are in a similar situation as yourself are treated more favorably than you because they are not in a protected class.
Okay, I understand now.
Great. Well, let's move on to the next topic. Are you ready to discuss the college's policy on sexual misconduct?
In reading the policy, I see the term sexual misconduct. Would you explain what sexual misconduct means?
Sure. Sexual misconduct includes any unwelcome conduct that is sexual in nature, from a non-physical form of sexual harassment to a violent physical sexual assault. By law, it also includes acts of domestic violence, dating violence, and stalking.
I understand what unwelcome conduct means, but sometimes it can be sort of a gray area.
Unwelcome conduct is any sexual conduct that is directed at you or around you when you have not given your consent to such conduct.
Okay, so consent can also be a gray area and is sometimes perceived as been given when in reality it wasn't.
You're right, Pavel. There are times when people are unsure if they have said or done something that may imply an unintentional yes to sexual activity. Sometimes a person may believe the way someone dresses can legitimately be perceived as consent to sexual activity. However, under Title IX and the college's policies, the only time consent to sexual activity is legitimate is when there is an affirmative and unquestionable yes, and that yes must be informed, mutually understood between the parties, and freely given.
Can you give me some examples of what is unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature, or when there is no consent?
Sure, some of the more obvious acts of unwelcome conduct of a sexual nature include unwanted sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, and obviously sexual assault. However, more subtle forms of sexual misconduct, which should also not be tolerated, are unwanted hugs, touches, or kisses, sexually derogatory cartoons, drawings, jokes that are either stated orally or in writing, in emails, text messages, and other forms of social media. Could this be sexual harassment? True or false? A male student jokes with a female student that he can guess her weight. She laughs and spins around so he can have a fair chance at doing so. Student A makes loud sexual jokes in the classroom to student B. Student C is also in the classroom and can overhear the jokes. Student C asks Student A to stop the jokes, but Student A continues on a regular basis. A student compliments a faculty member on their appearance. A faculty member laughingly tells a female student he will give her a good grade if she will date him. She doesn't laugh or respond, but he periodically makes the same remark throughout the semester. Also understand that without that affirmative and unquestionable yes, anything less than that is a no. So if you're incapacitated due to alcohol, drug use, or a date rape drug, you're unconscious or asleep, you cannot consent to sexual activity. And if by law you don't have the capacity to consent because of your age or a disability, then there is no consent to sexual activity.
Yeah, I understand.
Also, Pavel, consent can be withdrawn at any time.
So that means a person's yes can turn into a no, and that has to be respected. This is even if they're in the middle of a sexual activity?
Right. A great way to remember what consent is through the acronym FRIES. We typically think of fries as one of our favorite fast foods, but it is also an acronym for what is consent. Both persons may be excited to give each other a hug, but it does not mean that there is consent to intercourse or anything else in between.
FRIES is a good acronym because this is a lot to remember. So just to recap, F is for freely given, R is for reversible, I is for informed, E is for enthusiastic, and S is specific. And without these criteria, there is no consent.
You've got it. Is this consent to sexual activity? Yes or no? Bill asks Emily out to dinner, to which Emily says yes. After dinner, Bill pays for the whole dinner. Has Emily consented to sexual activity by allowing Bill to pay for her dinner? Paul and Amy are good friends. Paul is interested in dating Amy, but is unsure as to whether she feels the same way. During their last meeting, Paul reached over and gave Amy a hug, which she returned in kind. They both agreed to see each other the next day. The next day, Paul attempts to kiss Amy. Amy does not say anything, but also does not react to Paul. Did Amy consent to Paul kissing her? There is one last college policy to discuss, the Prohibition Against Retaliation policy, which can be found in the Procedure for the Resolution of Discrimination and Sexual Misconduct Complaints. Have you ever been concerned that reporting discrimination or sexual misconduct may result in some type of retaliation by the person or persons who allegedly committed these acts?
That's definitely a concern. I can understand a person's fear of being retaliated against for filing a complaint, especially if they are still a student or employee at the college. It would make me think twice before coming to Title IX.
Fear of retaliation should not be a barrier to reporting acts of discrimination or sexual misconduct. And the college encourages anyone who believes they are being discriminated against or who is a victim of sexual misconduct to report such conduct to the Title IX office. The Prohibition Against Retaliation policy protects a student's or employee's right to file a claim of discrimination or disclose acts of sexual misconduct without fear of retaliation.
How so?
The policy ensures that any and all acts of retaliation will not be tolerated and will be dealt with seriously. As with all college policies, a violation of the Prohibition Against Retaliation policy may result in disciplinary action, up to and including dismissal or termination from the college. That's why it's important to contact the Title IX office if you believe you are being retaliated against for exercising your right to file a discrimination or sexual misconduct complaint.
This is a lot of information. I didn't realize I had all these rights and that Title IX protected them. So what can the Title IX office do if I have a complaint?
I can give you information about resources you may want or need. I can also offer supportive or protective measures to ensure that you continue to have equal access to the college's programs and activities, and I can advise you on next steps. Depending on the nature of the alleged conduct, the Title IX office can also investigate whether a violation of the college's policies regarding discrimination, sexual misconduct, or retaliation has occurred.
Okay, what's the easiest way to contact you if I have a complaint?
Well, we've made it really convenient for you to file a complaint with my office. You can file a complaint on behalf of yourself or on behalf of another person. Once you log onto your student portal, there is a tab titled Report an Incident, located immediately below the Student Success Toolbox. Select Report an Incident, and you will be redirected to a landing page where you will have 3 options on what type of report you should complete. The Title IX reporting form is the second option titled Sexual Misconduct, Discrimination, and Retaliation for Students. This link will direct you to a user-friendly reporting form. Please be sure to include as much information about the complainant and respondent and the allegations, and most importantly, the contact information of the parties to the extent possible. If you're not the complainant but a third party reporting on behalf of someone else, it is also important to include your complete contact information in case I need to contact you. Once you have completed the form and press Submit, it will come directly to me and my assistant.
Will the information I provide to you remain confidential?
The college has the utmost respect for the privacy of its students and employees and will maintain confidentiality of the parties to the extent permitted by law and the college's policies.
Does the Title IX office have its own page on the Delaware Tech website where I can get more information about Title IX?
Yes, it does. In your Student Success Toolbox, you can access the Title IX page through the Title IX tab. You will also notice other options in the drop-down box, which will direct you to the policies we discussed, the Hear It, See It, Voice It resource card, my contact information, and the State of Delaware's Victims' Bill of Rights, which is a recitation of your rights if you've been a victim of sexual misconduct.
I appreciate you taking the time to meet with me today, and thank you for explaining what the Title IX office does for the college's students and employees. I have a much better understanding of Title IX and how I can help students and employees feel safe, knowing their rights are protected.
Pavel, it was great meeting you. I hope this information is helpful to you. Always know that you can contact me or refer any other person to me who has questions about Title IX. My contact information is 302-857-1903 or civilrights@dtcc.edu.